Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Anna Nafi, and I'm so excited to be here. Of course, I'm always excited to be here. Yeah, so today I want to talk about an experience, a personal experience that happened to me like a year ago. So I want to share this because God has laid it in my heart to do so because I believe that there's somebody out there who needs this as an encouragement or I don't know, maybe just something to stay up your feet to believe God once again. So sometime last year I enrolled for a course and doing that course I needed something to like proceed with it to enable me graduate. And so I at that point I couldn't afford to get one like to buy it. So I started reaching out to a couple of people I know who have and could lend me to just use for that period and sort myself out, So I just couldn't get it. In fact, the only person who would have helped me get it had like relocated like 2 months before that course. So I was just like, oh my god, how am I going to sort this out? I reached out to a couple of friends, some people I know, and I just didn't get it. So that made me to go into debt. I had to borrow money to be able to get that thing. So I didn't know who to ask for money because something very difficult to ask for help, So I downloaded some loan apps and I started borrowing money from them. It was devastating because borrowing and seeing the interest, I knew I didn't want to, but I didn't have an option. At that point, I needed that thing so badly because if I don't get it, I won't be able to graduate. And I was already doing the course, so I had to. So I borrowed a lot of money to purchase that thing. And I was just saying to myself, okay, before the deadline for repayments, I would have been able to like gather the money, like done some jobs and pay back even before the repayment date. And that was it. So I was so much in disbelief that the due date is here and I actually did not have this money. So I before the due date, the repayment date will elapse, I was able to gather some money and pay. I paid like 40% of the money. So I still had like 60 more to go. So I was just there, I was worrying. But nothing was coming forth. In fact, at that point, everything was dry, no business, everything was just going slowly. And at some point, I just told myself, only God can help me because, of course, only God can help me at this point because I had come to the end of myself. And I just told myself, I'm no longer going to worry. I'll just trust God. And every time that thought pops up in my head, like, oh, the due date for this repayment is almost approaching and you don't have the money yet. How are you going to? And I'll just say to myself, God's going to sort me out. God will come through for me. That was what I just kept saying to myself. In fact, it became like a declaration, and that was what I kept saying. God will come through for me. God will sort me out, and that was it. So the due date is here, and oh my god, they've been calling me like from as early as 4 a.m. in the morning when people are still sleeping. I've been receiving calls from these loan apps, telling me that this is my due date, I need to pay up, blah blah blah. And I was like, God, what is all this? And the way loan apps can be very funny. Before you know, they start texting and calling people from your contacts list. They start posting some kind of negative information about you, which may not be true, which are not even true. And I was like, just saying to myself, I said, God, is this going to be me? Like, I was so devastated. In fact, I was just that day, the whole of that day, I was not just myself. But I kept saying, even in the midst of all this back and forth, I kept saying to myself, God's going to come through for me. God is going to sort me out. I just kept declaring. And I was just there. They were still calling me back to back to back to back. And I just kept saying, God's going to sort me out. God's going to come through for me. And I was sitting on the couch with my phone. So I just stood up. In fact, like I was standing up and a call was coming in. It was a WhatsApp call. I was just looking, I didn't have the number. But I checked and I saw the name. I was like, okay, I know this person. We've not communicated for a very long time. In fact, over a year. I was like, what's calling me now? I didn't want to pick the call. I was reluctant because I was not even at a very good state of mind at that point. I was like, when I picked up the call, I was just reluctant. Hello, hi, how are you doing? Fine. And he called and we're talking and he was like, he called to congratulate me because before then I just passed out from my service NYSC. And he was like, oh, he saw my post and he tried to call me to congratulate me that he had it in mind to take me out for lunch. And I was just laughing, to take me out for lunch. We've not seen in over a year and just like that. And I was like, yeah. So when we kept conversing and he was telling me he has actually moved from where I know he used to be and he was no longer in the States. So I was like, oh wow, that's nice. But it's been a long time, so of course I wasn't aware. And he was like, okay, do I still want to go for lunch that he wants to take me for, or should he send me the money? And I was laughing. I was like, okay, take me out for lunch or send me the money. And I was like, okay, take me out for lunch. And then I laughed and said, oh, just send me the money. And he said, okay, call the account number. So we're still on the call and I was calling the account number. In my mind, I was like, okay, 5K, 5,000 naira at least. And that's lunch. 5K will buy me lunch. That's what was in my head. And to my greatest surprise, when that alert entered, my God. See, I was shouting Jesus, Jesus, even on that call because I could not even hold my joy. I could not hold my excitement. I was in shock. I was like, God, see, trust me when I say there's such a thing as God coming through for you. There's such a thing as God putting your needs in the hearts of men, you know. And do you know that the amount that He sent was the exact amount that I needed to complete that loan, that debt, to clear me out of that debt? Like, I was in awe. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, nobody has sent me this kind of money before. Oh my God. And I was just so surprised. And I was just screaming, Jesus, Jesus, thank you, thank you. And like, it was after some days, I even had to tell him this, that this was what happened. God used you to clear me from such situation. I was like, God, if this is not you, then I don't know who it is. But I strongly know and believe that this is God. Because I believe that if when I was worrying and thinking about those things and I just kept saying to myself, oh my God, I'm doomed, I'm in debt, how do I clear myself? I had to come to the end of myself and I was like, total surrendering to God. I told God, I said, you're going to sort me out, you're going to come through for me. And that was how it happened. My pastor would always say, declare words, declare what you want to see happen. It is your declaration that manifests. Just imagine me saying, oh God, I'm doomed. Of course, I would have been doomed because I couldn't help myself. I couldn't save myself in that situation. But I kept saying, God's going to sort me out. He's going to come through for me. And that was the manifestation. God came through for me. God sorted me out. And oh my God, that was it. I am so happy. I don't know why God, like, I was just feeling this nudge in my spirit to share this for days now, and I just said, okay, let me just do this video today and share it out. You may be in debt or something that's a very bad situation that when it comes out in the open, it's going to be devastating, it's going to tarnish your image or something. I don't want you to keep saying to yourself that, oh my God, you're doomed. Instead, trust God. Declare that God is going to come through for you. You know, He always comes through for his own, for the people He loves. Like, if you just trust God, I believe that He's going to sort you out. And God works in mysterious ways because you just can't fathom, you just can't explain, you just don't know how it will happen, but it will just happen. So I'm doing this video to encourage you to stay up your faith, to trust God. There's nothing too hard for God to do. There is nothing too hard for God to do. The Bible says, with God, nothing is impossible. I want you to take that to heart and declare it that there's nothing that is impossible for God to do. So if you really need Him, call on Him and He'll surely show up for you. I'm so happy to be doing this video and sharing my testimony with you all. And I believe and hope that this blesses you as much as He has blessed me and stirred up and boosted up my faith. So do well to subscribe, like, and share this with your loved ones. They may be the ones who need to hear this, who need to believe God once again. They might have given up on God because of the situation, but trust God. Trust God. I don't want you to trust me because I'm human, but trust God to always come through for me. So thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited to be doing this as usual. So hope to see you again some other time when I post a new video. Bye.